What's going on, guys? It's the Filthy Casual, back with another Diablo 3 video. As promised, this is my Season 17 Necromancer Starter Guide. Now in Season 17, Necro gets an Arius. It's a pretty crappy start, so I'm going to show you how to make the best of a bad situation and use the season theme to absolutely skyrocket your progress. Now, there are some changes for 265 that have been undocumented, so I'm going to show you how to have a guaranteed multiplier in your weapon slot, a near guaranteed multiplier in your armor slot, give you some tips on what skills to use and how to level, as well as showing you how to have a 70% chance of getting an ancient item practically instantaneously at level 70, touch on a couple of the multipliers to use at 70, and also suggest a build that will do, I don't know, T11, T12, T13 pretty quickly, can chuck together very easily. So before we get into it, I just want to say thanks for all the love on the last video. I've ranked all the classes in relation to how quick I think their start's going to be, so thanks for anybody who liked that video and commented, and if you're new around here, hit the subscribe button. So check the video out if you haven't, it's in the cards, it's in the description. I gave Necro 3rd place, so it's about time I justified that. Now, just as a starting point, Necro will be quick, and one of the reasons for that is because it gets access to so many multipliers so quickly. So in the background I will show you some footage of me using only one ancient item, a Reaper's Wraps. The rest of the gear you'll watch me roll at Kadala, so it's a complete lucky dip what I get. I then go and do a little bit of T4 content with just the Blood Tide and the Cube. So the point that I'm getting at is Necro's got quite a lot of multipliers, and this 750% for Lon jumps up very quickly, so my goal for this season is to get to 70 as fast as possible. But let's start at the beginning and level 1. There's been a slight change in 265, your challenge rift bag now contains 35 DBs rather than 10, so I'll go ahead and open one of those on screen for you now, and this is absolutely amazing for the Necro, because what it means is that if you go and get the cube very early, you'll be able to craft a two-handed scythe, you'll be able to upgrade it in the cube, and there are only 4 possibilities. A Blood Tide blade will give you a whopping 400% damage increase per enemy within 25 years to Blood Nova. I tested this on T3 with no other gear, and I could do it very easily. You blast the skeletons apart like paper. Massacre bonusing in Halls of Agony is going to be really easy with that. The Malthorius, this gives you a 700% damage increase to Bone Spear. Again, I put it on at level 1 just for a laugh, no other gear other than what I had on me, and I could do T1 up to about level 12. Anair's Black Death is going to be epic, that'll give you up to 3, 4, 500% extra damage on poison skills, depends how many you squeeze on your bar. The Ryleena's Shadow Hook will be double damage and give you more essence for bone spikes, so it doesn't matter which one of these 4 things you get, you've got a guaranteed multiplier, and you really can level very quickly with this. Now also at level 1 you've got blood shards to spend. I'm going to recommend going for gloves, only for the Grasp of Essence. It's the only gloves in the loot pool. Now I hear people say it's guaranteed that you'll get it. It isn't. It's nearly guaranteed because it's about 87% chance, I think. So I'll chuck a graphic up on the screen, and basically what this shows is that you've got a 10% chance every time you roll for it. You get 19 goes with 475 blood shards, so it's pretty close to guaranteed, but it isn't there. So if you don't get it, you need to say more prayers to R and Jesus, but at least you'll have your guaranteed multiplier in your weapon slot. And as I say, the Nairs, that's a poison skill. You can stick your poison rune on Corpse Explosion and you'll be absolutely shredding. So 3 of the weapons that you can get will absolutely skyrocket your progress. The Ryleena's, alright, it's not brilliant, but it's still pretty decent. The rest of my blood shards, I'm personally planning on hanging on to. You can roll for a Leoric's Crown, that's in the loot pool at level 1, it's the only helm, so you've got a good chance of hitting it. But if you're going to Massacre level, particularly if you get one of the good weapons and do it on T1, T2, T3, something like that, you will level much quicker than your drops, and basically what will happen is you will outgrow your gear very quickly, and you'll be running around with really crappy gear, so having a few hundred blood shards in the bank, you can just port to town, go and get a few items from Kadala and beef yourself back up. So I'm planning on Massacre bonusing, probably Halls of Agony repeatedly, maybe Fields of Misery. It just depends on which weapon I get, but I'm expecting to do that very quickly, and as I say, if I can do some of that content on T1, T2 or T3, guys, it's just going to be amazing. Now there are obviously the standard leveling tricks that apply, rolling a level 70 weapon and re-rolling it for reduced level requirement. So that basically, you roll a two-handed scythe, make sure it's got CC on it, and then you roll off the other item. So you keep the CC, roll the other secondary, because there's only a few options in the loot pool. So again, there'll be footage on screen to show you what I mean. Now if you do hit a banger, so one that's got like 20 level requirement reduced, what you want to do is you want to chuck a transmog on it, and that'll stop you from auto salvaging it. I did that once, I screamed, my neighbours thought I'd murdered somebody, but I chucked away a level 27 banger, I think it was. So don't be me, don't do that. Now as you're Massacre leveling, you know, as I say, beg, borrow, steal, whatever it is that you need, come back to town, craft stuff, buy stuff, level 8, level 11, go get your rings, get your amulets. If you've leveled any characters before, you know the drill, but basically just take advantage of having the challenge rift bag and all the goodies that are inside it. Now, one of the tips you often get at the start of the season is take your follower's weapon, go kill Magda, all Zolt and cool, and do a bounty essentially to get the chest. I'll probably just go straight for the cube because I think it is that important. But guys, nobody ever recommends this, and I don't really know why. This little guy down here, he sells stuff, and generally it's better than what you get off the Templar, so I tend to go to him. I get a better weapon normally, and he also sells some gear that's got life regen on it, so I pick up a gloves, you know, a helm, boots, you know, whatever he's got, I'll buy it basically, and that'll help me out quite a bit. In terms of Massacre leveling in general, Necro gets a really easy time of it. You've got loads of pets, so it's quite easy to chain stuff together. So I'll be looking to take probably a generator from bone spikes because it's ranged. I'll take a spender that will match my two-handed weapon, or it'll be skeletal mages. I'll then probably look to take command skeletons, maybe the golem for the flesh golem for a pile of corpses to blow up with corpse explosion, and then probably blood rush or bone armor. And basically you just need to keep that constant damage on the enemies going so that you can Massacre bonus, get your increased XP. Now obviously look out for Borns, look out for Canes. If those plans drop, go back to town and craft them. But guys, this really shouldn't be taking too long, particularly if you get good RNG with the weapon. And as I say, this is likely to be the quickest you'll ever level. It's really important because when you do get to level 70, that long buff will kick in when you find an ancient. So at 70, what you want to do is you want to quit the game immediately, jack it back down to normal, go back and kill Malthael. He'll drop Reaper's Wraps, that's craftable at the blacksmith. It costs 1 bounty mat per go of this. Now you've got 15 of these things, you've used one to extract your two-hander and the cube, so you've got 14 left. We're going to save one for a gold wrap, we're going to save another one for a circle of Naluji Vol. I'll show you how to get those very easily in a sec. And we're going to keep one spare for a weapon just in case we want to swap whatever it was we got on Lucky Dip. Now obviously if you do get like a Rylena Shadow Hook, you might want to gamble one more time, but as I say, I'm going to keep one spare. That'll give me 11 goes at a Reaper's Wraps, dropping as Ancient, so I'll load up that nerdy little spreadsheet again. This will give me about a 70% chance roughly of hitting it, and guys, it's a gamble worth taking. 750% multiplicative damage. You don't want to be doing bounties, but you'll get by with what we've left. And once you've got your Stewart's Greaves or some kind of speed build or speed equipment, you can go and do as many bounties as you want, but it really is worth gambling, because if you do nail that ancient item, you'll be jumping yourself up to like T3 or T4 pretty much instantly. Now Necro does have some really good multipliers, and they're really easy to get because the loot pool is so tight. You've got Blood-Tide Blade, as we talked about, in the two-handed scythes, Rylena Shadow Hook, Nair's Black Death. They're all really good, they do synergize quite well. You can use a Nair's and you can use a Blood-Tide Blade, and that will be a multiplier on top of a multiplier, which will be really strong. You want to pick yourself up a Scythe of the Cycle, so one-handed scythe. That'll do 400% damage for Skeletal Mage and for Death Nova, basically secondary skills. So that again is a really good one to pick up early game. You might find a Tragul's Corroded Fang whilst you're looking for this. Again, it's another 200% multiplier, so these things are quite easy. One that gets overlooked quite a lot, I feel, is Ledger's Disdain. That is 80% per point of essence restored. Normally you get 12 essence per primary hit with Grim Scythe, for example. That's a 960 multiplier, and obviously if you hit more than one enemy, you're going to get more than 12 essence back. And again, there's only 4 Phylacrates in the loot pool, so that's really easy to get. So they're just some multipliers. There are more. You can get Crispins, COE, all that kind of stuff that's really rare. And basically, you will DPS so quickly, its toughness is your only issue. So So you want to look out for Dainty's Binding, you want to look out for Golem Skin Breaches, Wisdom of Kalan, anything, the Lornell Sunstone, anything that will make you tougher. But really the kicker is going to be getting to Greed's Realm and getting the Boon of the Hoarder. So Puzzle Ring, you can put it in the cube, or you might just kill a goblin and get the spawn. You know, it does tend to arise pretty early on in the season every time I play. Once you've got your Boon of the Hoarder, you can craft the level 1, re-roll the level 1 Necro, and you can go back and you can now roll for your Circle of Naluji Vol Ring. There's only 2 rings in the loot pool, so you will hit it fairly quickly. That goes in the cube, doubles your mages. You're going to do the same for a gold wrap belt. Again, there's only 2 belts in the pool, so you'll have in your cube those 2 items. You're also going to stick a shadow hook in there, and this is for the build that will pretty much demolish T11, 12 and 13 once you start getting it set up. So we'll cut to some footage of the builds that we're going to put together. We'll look at the skills first because they're the most important. The gear, there are some important pieces, but they're pretty easy to find. So it's not surprising, it's going to be a skeletal mage build. We're going to use Singularity. This will consume all of our essence and give us a super juice mage. We're going to use bone spikes to generate essence, so if we run dry on the essence, we just whack this a few times and it'll go up pretty quick. That will allow us to get a skeletal mage out again. We are going to be using Devour, Cannibalize. We're going to numlock this, so whenever we get a corpse, it will be consumed for more juice, for more mages and more powerful mages. The Command Golem, we plop him down, he does 8 corpses on the floor, they get devoured, more juice, more mages. Bone Armor you have to take because we're going to use Scythe of the Cycle to buff the mages, so this has to be up all the time, and the mages get even more juiced by your weapon, which we'll show you in a sec. The Blood Rush is here just for mobility, so you'll move quicker after you do that. Passives wise, Life from Death is crucial because when you consume corpses with Devour you get health globes. Overwhelming Essence for more powerful mages. Final Service because dying sucks, and if you don't get your gold wrap bonus up you can die, so that's why that's there. And Extended Servitude makes your mages last longer. So if we have a little look at the gear in the cube, we've got the Circle of Naluji Vol, which is easy to find at level 1. We've got the gold wrap in the cube as well, again level 1 findable. Rylena Shadow Hook, there's only 4 of these in 4 two-handed sides of the pool, so again easy to get. Scythe of the Cycle we talked about, this is essential, you absolutely need this, it's a huge damage boost. As you can see, this is the first one that I found. I haven't put a socket on it and I haven't re-rolled it. Reaper's Wraps, as we discussed, ancient, fairly easy to come by because of your bounty mats out of your challenge rift bag. These will restore primary resource when you consume health globes. Again, that synergizes really well with the Life and Death passive. Tasker and Theo I've gone for just to increase the pet attack speed, not essential at all, but it helps. And then Stuart's Greaves, again really nice because of the move speed. Other than that, nothing is essential. So you only need this weapon, it does not have to be ancient, and these braces, and again it does not have to be ancient. In an ideal world you would have a Requiem Cereplate here, and that would help even more with juice for the mages because it would give you extra essence when you devour. So basically any old helm will do, any old shoulders will do, any old chest piece will do, any pants will do, albeit these are fairly useful because you get your damage reduction on them. Stuart's Greaves, any belt will do, any amulet will do, and any ring will do, and any offhand. So as I say, this is the only thing you need, this and this. Now I've got 5 ancients in the setup that I'm using. Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Now I've got no intelligence gems in my gear. I've got a Boon of the Hoarder and no other legendary gems. The rings are crap. The gloves are crap. These are monk shoulders. This is a monk helm with dexterity on it. This has got corpse lance damage on it. This is a monk hellfire amulet. And this hasn't been re-rolled. The point I'm getting at, guys, is this is just the worst of the worst gear, and 4 or 5 ancient items is really easy to come by. You don't need to find that many items to get it. 1 in 10 will drop as ancient, so particularly if you get yourself juiced up with some multipliers, it is super easy. So guys, let's jump in. Let's hope we don't get an elite straight away, because it will kill us probably, because you are squishy as hell without any damage reduction. So you need to get your mage out. Now you've got your gold wrap, you're invulnerable, and off you go. And bear in mind, as I say, this is with no legendary gems other than the Boon of the Hoarder. It's with awful gear. You'll have more gear, more Paragon. So this guy's a Juggernaut, so there you go, he's history. So it's easy to play, there's nothing, no cooldown requirements. But there we go guys, that's the build. It's really easy to set up. Even if you dropped a couple of these ancient items, you'd only have to drop the difficulty down a little bit. It's so powerful, the 750. One is 750, 1500, 250. It's such a huge multiplier. You only need to find a couple of them, and you really get cooking. So I'm then going to probably gear into LOM mages with Simulacrum and Ingium, and run the full cooldown shebang. But I've done some pretty interesting speed builds, so I'll put them in the description. You've probably seen some of the footage in the background. So as I say, Necro, can't wait for season 17. Gets a really strong start. So yeah, that's the video. Hope you liked it, hope it was useful. Drop me a like, drop me a comment, hit that subscribe button. Come back and see me soon, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.